ンコンコンシルビー。ちょっと我の位置低いな。いいよ。コンシルビー。コンシルビー。健康になりたい。気ままな吸血鬼こと早乙女シルビアが今日もお相手させていただきます。よかったらシルビーって呼んでください。朝日さん、こんにちは。コンシルビー。あずもり、こんにちは。こんにちは。このさ、何々さんがこんにちはと言いましたってコメント流行ってんの？これなんかみんなくれるけど、どういうコメントこれ。定型文？何このコメント。最近多い、このコメント。なんだろう。コンシルビー、朝日さん、コンシルビー。イエーイ。あ、そう、あつ森が今度来たら言おうと思ってたんだけどさ、トゥインクルナイト聞いて結構ハマった。君と過ごすよ、少しアーバンって頭の中でずっとぐるぐる回ってるわっていうことを言いたかった。でも一番最初のこの部分が好きなだけ。なんか他の人のラップっぽい部分はそんなにハマらなかった。一番最初その部分。パートが好き。君と過ごすよ少しアーバンなんちゃらららららららららららみたいな。あそこの一番最初の女の子のパートがお気に入りです。カラオケ大臣さんがこんにちはと言いました。コンシルビーいらっしゃい。ゴーストケースコンシルビーいらっしゃい。やったぜ。あれハマった。教えてくれてありがとうね。こっちこそやったぜって感じ。なんか聴く曲増えて嬉しい。声もいいよね。声と歌い方、声の出し方っていうのかな。なんか結構好き。キャということで、本日はですね、The Deadly Parable というゲームをやっていきます。このゲームはどうやら、やっていけばわかるらしいんだけど、ナレーションをなんか無視することもできるらしくて、なんかそういう自由度の高いゲームだっていうことしか知らない。なんか無視したり無視しなかったり、その選択でなんかストーリーが変わっていくのかな？なんかよくわかんないんですけど、なんか我もあんまり詳しくないんだけど、我のお兄ちゃんがこれ面白いよ、このゲーム面白そうだよっておすすめしてくれて、でネタバレを食らっちゃうとあんまり面白くないかもってことで、そのままでやった方がいいって言って、他の配信者さんの、やつとかも見ないで今いるので、詳しくは知りません。ホラゲでしょうか？ホラゲではないはずです。ちょっとストアページを見に。ホラゲではないはずです。ちょっとストアページを見にね。The Stanley Parable は一人称視点のアドベンチャーゲームです。あなたはスタンリーとしてゲームをプレイします。しかし同時にあなたはスタンリーではありません。ホラゲじゃないね。アドベンチャー、カジュアル、インディーって書いてある。ホラゲじゃないですね。ホラゲではないはずです。ちょっと怖いかもしれないけど、ホラゲではないので。安心してやれると思います。ということで早速やっていきましょう。The Stanley Parable ウルトラデラックス。詳しくはわかんない。本当に詳しくはわかんない。とりあえずやって見てわかる？このさ、わかる？我がゲームをやってるようで、この画面内でさらに画面内でさらに画面内みたいな感じでどんどんゲームをやってる感じ。ほらわかるね。ちょっと面白そうじゃない？ホラゲではない、怖くはないはずなので、とりあえずやっていきましょう。最後までやれるかわかんないんだけどね。とりあえずやれるところまで。これはスタンリーという名の男の物語。スタンリーは大きなビルの会社で従業員番号427として働いていました。従業員番号427の仕事は至って単純。427番の部屋でデスクに向かいキーボードのボタンを押すだけです。 指令は机のモニターを通してきました。どのボタンをどのくらいの長さを押せばよいかを教えてくれるのです。従業員427は何ヶ月も何年もこの作業を日々繰り返していました。他の人たちにとっては魂が引き裂かれるようだったかもしれません。しかしスタンリーは、指令が入るたびに楽しんでいました。まるでこの仕事をするために生まれてきたかのように。スタンリーは幸せでした。そしてある日、なんだかとても奇妙なことが起きたのです。そんなスタンリーを永遠に変えてしまうような何か。彼が決して忘れることがないであろう何かが。1時間近くデスクに向かっていたのに、モニターから一つも指令が来てないことに気がつきました。彼に指令を出す人も会議を開く人も挨拶をする人さえ誰もいません。入社してから一度だってこんな完全な孤立はありませんでした。明らかに何か変だ。ショックで固まったスタンリーは長いこと身動きが取れなくなっていました。しかし落ち着きを取り戻すと、デスクを離れ彼の部屋を出て行きました。一人称が始まりましたね。知らないゲームだからワクワクする楽しみ。我もね、このゲームずっとね、やろうと思ってたゲームだから楽しみ。ちょっと時計、どう？ちゃんと流れてる。なんだろう、書類とかがあるけど、詳しくは見れない感じか。これ427番の部屋ですね。指令が来るはずが来てないって、電話してもいいんじゃない？しゃがみとか。こんばんは、初見です。島智彦さんいらっしゃい。コンシルビー。今日はスタンリーパラボっていうゲームをやっていきます。ナレーションに従ったり従わなかったり自由な行動をとるゲームみたいです。絵がある。これが427番の部屋ね。とりあえず探索からだよね、まずは。って思うんだけど、なんか探索できないんだよね。なんかを調べるとかはできない感じ。なんて書いてあるのこれ。I hate Monday って書いてあるのか。I hate Monday って書いてあるっぽい。まあ、この部屋、なんか、もう特に見れるものはないかな。絵が飾ってある。なんか、日々。でもさ、日々さ、ここでずっとさ、作業しててさ、1時間指令がないし、人がいないからってさ、でもいつもだってこれだけをやってきたのにさ、なんか書いてあるここ。これただのボードか。ただその指令だけをやってきたのにさ、いきなり外出るとかさ、ためらっちゃうよね。我だったら速攻で出る。我だったらこんな仕事やってらんない。日々言われたボタンを押すだけなんてやってらんないわ。まあそろそろ外出ましょうか。まあこの部屋で見れるものはもうないんじゃないでしょうか。なんか、コントロールでしゃがめるわ。下見れる？そんな見るもんないな。しゃがんだからといって。まあ、ちょっと行きますか。まあ、いろんなところを探索して、なんかのヒントを得られるといいんだけど。まあ、要は脱出ゲームみたいなことなのかな？ 427 番の部屋があって、なんかもう開かなくなった。閉めたら開かなくなったんだけど。428番、開かない。429番、開かない。同じだよね、ここも多分やってること。でも指令は来てないっぽいし、なんなら人はいないし、測ってる絵が違う。428番の部屋は見れないわ。
All of his co-workers were gone,
彼の同僚たちは全員いなくなってしまったので、どういうことでしょう。スタンリーは会議室に向かうことにしました。おそらく彼は伝言がどうたらこうたら、なんか、読み切れなかったけど。会議室に行け。
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
ナレーターに実績取ろうとしてんだろうって言われちゃった。428番と427番は外から部屋見えないのに、429番はなんで外が見えるの？外から中が見えるの？謎多き会社だわ、ここ。時計間違ってる。こんな時間じゃないよ、今。I hate Monday ってここにもあるし。これ見て。ぐるぐるの電話だよ。黒電話みたいな。プーパーテッド。わからん。あ、なんか見て。なんか、ここ使った、消えちゃった。ワンダって書いてある。今光ってたのにね、消えちゃった。電話したいけど。あ、コピー。最近さ、仕事でコピーを取りに行くことがよくあるんだけどさ、コピー機とファックスが一緒になってる形のコピー機なの。でっかい。いつもファックスかコピーかわかんなくなる。どっちがどっちだったかな。なんかね、出てくる口が違うんだよ。さあさ。これは何？ I like work. I just hate my boss. 私は働くのは好きです。ただ、ボスが嫌いなだけ。そういうことらしいです。まあでも、ね、わからん、それは。我は働くのも上司も好きだけど、最近ちょっとギスギスしてるけど。ここ437番。ほんでね、430、あ、1、427がこのフロアで一番若いね、番号が。431、432、433、434、435、436で430。個室が与えられてる番号とない番号の違いもわからない。とりあえず、次行ってみよう。富士山じゃないか。ヒマラヤ山脈とかそういうやつ。なんだろう。なんかさっきから書類落ちてんのめっちゃ気になる。拾っていきたい。拾わせてくれよ。ここは何？何の部屋？開かない。あ、ここは番号が若くなった。なんか飛び出てるよ。あ、またついてるパソコンがある。なんで切っちゃうの？なんか入ってる？なんもないな。猫とかいないかな？猫とかいてほしいんだけど。会社に猫いたら最高じゃない？開かない。開かない。でもあそこついてる。ここ、外にも通じてる。4B6 って何？時計の音だ。時計がもうどこもかしこも違うよ。424番。423番。あ、なんか書いてあるよ。 パレン。わからん。日本語で OK。通知に気づかず遅れたコンシルビー。コンシルビーとにさん、いらっしゃい。Be my Valentine。Be my Valentine。くださいってことかな。また、電話の種類がなんか違うね。あ、なんかここも指示出てるよ。スクリーン、サーネームアクセス、なんちゃらかんちゃら。あー。なんで相変わらず切っちゃうの？フーファー。なんかとりあえず、なんかドア開いてる方に向かえばいいんだよね、多分。これどういうゲーム？The Stanley Parable っていうね。
Literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
なんかバカにされてる気がする、さっきから。The Stanley Parable っていう、まあ多分脱出を目的とするゲームなんだけど、何かを解決すればいいんだけど、なんかナレーションの言うことを聞いたり聞かなかったり、自由に探索して選択肢を広げていくゲームかな。あなたはスタンリーであると同時にあなたはスタンリーではないみたいなことを紹介文には書いてあった。I hate Monday! あ、なんか417の人逃げてね。なんかほら。逃げたんじゃないこれ。よくわからんけど、こっち行けばいいんだろう。この絵はスタンリーの部屋にあったのと同じだ。この部屋は会議室っぽいけど。入れない。よくわかんない。うわぁ、なんか二択だよ。なんでここ真っ白なの？ここには部屋があるっていうのに。不思議な作り。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
彼は左のドアに入りましたって言ってる。左ってどっちから見て左？ドアから見て左？コンシルビー鳥さんいらっしゃい。でも左に入ったって言われたら逆張り人間だから我。右行きたくなっちゃう。よいしょ。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
従業員ラウンジだって。なんか荒れてるよね、全体的に。時計も狂ってるし。よくわかんないんだけど、もう全部のドアガチャガチャしながら進んでいくだけだわ。光ってる。光ってる。あそこ外出れそう。カチャカチャカチャ。
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
なんか買えないかな。何も買えない。
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
なんかすごいバカにされてる気がするナレーションに。なんだこれ。不思議でしょ？なんかそういうゲームなんだよ。
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall
さっさと出て
personality.
けって言ってるけ
It's
ど。
possible that this is why everyone left.
無能だからって 無能じゃねえだろ、スタンリー。何年も仕事勤め上げてんだろ。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
なんかよくわかんないのも次の部屋行こう。
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
コピー機だ。こんばんは、長々さん、コンシルビー、いらっしゃい。何これ。あ。ほいーん。ほいーん。ほいーん。何ここ。入ったらドア閉められそうだよね、ここ。どっち行くべき？こっち？うわ、どっち行くべき？これ。ここ行こ
う。Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. 嘘をつくなって。もしあなたが今嘘をついてるなら、やめなさいって。嘘はついてないよ。どっちに行けばいいか分かんなかったのは本当だよ。どっち行こうかなって悩んだ末にこっちに来たんじゃん。なんかバカにされてる気がする。ほいでほいで。ほいでほいで。ここはなんぞなんぞ。あ、これ。これ登りたいんだけど。あ、なんかカードキーが必要。ここは。なんで動くの？
Perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
誰彼女って。彼女のためなので。彼女って誰だよ。
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
何これバッ
To
テリ
let
ーか。
her back into your life. She's been waiting.
誰彼女？知らないわあれ。他の女？誰よその女。うん、こっち行くしかないから。まあ道に従って行ってみるよ。真っ暗なんだけど、わ。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up. Oh, no, 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 you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner?
何どういうこと？
You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Oh,
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
なんかこっち行けって言われてるし、行く場所もないから。じゃあ話行くか。戻ってるだけだけど。
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Hmm. よくわかんないけど戻れって言われた気がする。
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Hmm. 左のドアを選べと言われてる。ここだ。
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
入ってく。眩しい。左のドアには入ってみたよ、これで。それでなんかあるの？あ、会議室。 何これ。ミーティングルーム、フロアを、あれなんか、誰か死んでる？レイプって書いてある。Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
何書いてあるかよくわかんない。前話してた仮面ライダーって矢表を作るやつっていつやるか決まってる？いつやるかは決まってないけど、なんか同じような内容が続かないように配信は、ちょっと内容を分けていくつもりだから、もうちょっと先になると思う。この間仮面ライダーの歌ったとこだし、仮面ライダーの令和の主題歌歌うのもまだやってないから、そうなると思います。もう少し先かな。いつやるかは決まってない。でも2月に入ってからかも。ちょっと今週は忙しいから、なんか月っていうか週に配信が、ね、いくらかできたらいいぐらいかな。って感じ。忌々しいなれたら。ね、なんかでも味方っぽい言いぶりはしてるよ。敵じゃないみたいな。言うことを聞けば OK って言ってる。何の音？今なんか変な音したよ。ファックスとか今時珍しい。ファックス、まだ使ってるとこは使ってるんじゃない？我のところも使ってる。What is hot? Drink. Number of slide on this slide. なんかちょっとよくわからん、これ。なんか、よくわからんわ。なんか、会議室っぽいね。こういう会議室使うようななんかあれとか。知らないわ。B ルームクローゼ。了解、楽しみにしてるね。ありがとね。待っててね。さあ、上の階に行ったってね。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
下も行けそうなのに階段がないから行けないね。何？行けないじゃん。うわー、眩しい。なんかこう、外が見えない感じ。ね。あ？ここじゃないの？もう一個上か。何この趣味悪い。ここじゃない。趣味悪くない？この部屋。何このでっかい本。The Bees Page。わからん。電話帳かな？まだぐるぐるの電話もあったからぐらいだからさ、結構古い時代背景なのかな、このゲームは。こっち行けばいいんだよね、多分。
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
これじゃないの？これでしょ？
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
だって言えないんだもん、我。
Okay,
入
fine,
力させ
you're
て
not
よ。
gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All
F ワードでも言った？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
OK。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
世界が壊れてる。世界が壊れてるんだ。おお。あ、びっくりした。スタックしたかと思った、今。動けなかった。なんだよ。結局できる選択は一つってことかよ。
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Oh! 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 Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What happened?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What,
right.
Did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story.
Oh,
if
your
you'd just gone through the
story.
door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
Oh?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Stanley.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay?
Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door.
The end!
Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose.
もうスタンリーから我は抜けてしまったわ。
This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
うわ
As much time as you need.
こんなエンディングが待ってるとは。ああ。最初から左を選べばよかった。あ、最初に戻ってきた。よし、次は言う通りに行ってみよう。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
言う通りに行ってみよ
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
う。
there.
OK。上の階のオフィスに行くんだ。あ、なんか下行けるようになってる。
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course,
すごく
this
怖
was
い。
not a dream.
すごく奇
How
妙。
could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
なんかすごく
Let me go
怖
back
い
to。my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
I am okay.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real.
夢じゃないの？
Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Who am
And
I?
everything went black.
目の前が真っ暗になった。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
マリエラ。
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
おう、置いてかれた。死体なのに。警察に通報してくれ。頼む。また初めからだ。今度こそ言うことを聞けばいいよね。下行けるようになってるとか言って下行っちゃったけど、今度こそ言うことを聞いてみよう。急げ
All of
急
his
げ
co-workers had gone. What could it mean?
急げ急
Stanley decided
げ
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
ま
simply
ずは
missed a
会議
memo.
室に行くんだ。急げ左
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
会議室
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
来た。え、こっちだったさっき。あっちだったよね。エグゼクティブボスルーム。 To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? But a life is it would be to have to pick just one. よくわかんないけど、これを一個取れって。なんかよくわかんない、この部屋。入ったものの。よくわかんないわ。さよなら。ビジネスストラテジー。よくわかんない。明日カラオケに行く予定なんだけど、シルビーおすすめの曲ある？最近はね、北に達也さんの悪魔の踊り方が好きです。でもカラオケでおすすめの曲って言ったらね、最近だと、ミセスの曲はおすすめ。盛り上がるしね。あとは古い曲もおすすめ。ビーズとか、ちょっと古めな曲も歌うと楽しい案外。エレベーターだ。おーおーおー、なんか軽快な音楽。英語わかんないよ、英語わかんない我も。なんかでも2ピックアップって言ってた。このゲームがこのゲームがもともと英語なんだよね、多分制作が。長くね、エレベーター。早く止まってほしいな。この軽快な音楽で我はどんだけ待てばいい？長くね？止まった。同じとこ？よくわからんな。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Wow. Wow. うちじゃなかった。マジこのゲームよくわからんな。おえなんかロボットが入った。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
何？ビビった。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Mind Control Facility. Escape!
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, The truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
ナレーターが変わった。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
はもう声を失ったよ、完全に。何このゲームやばすぎ。飛ぶ棚って何？飛ぶの？翻訳ミス。ここが最初のスタンリーの部屋でってことだよね。で、こう行って、こう行って、廊下行って、ここで2つの部屋に分かれるっていう作りになってんだ。なんか、面白いけど、いや、もう一回やりたいな。まあ、いっぱいあるよ。メンテナンスルームの初期バージョン。で、結局メンテナンス、なんだっけ？なんちゃら。放線地帯。この開発のあれが出てますな。いっぱいあるよ。ナレーターのメール。from James 読めない。from auto pump. Are you a rock? やべえ、読めねえ。 ラウンジ。もう一回やりたいんだけど、普通に。結局普通にさ、従うっていう。わお。全バージョンではアパートのエンディングへつながる選択肢で、電話に出るまでの時間が15秒与えられてます。あ、やっぱ電話には出るのと出ないのとどっちもエンディングがあるんだね。やばい、ちょっとこの道迷路になりそう。会議室、確かにこういうの置いてあった。メンテナンスレイアウト。よくわかんない。ナレーターが女の人になりましたね。なんか不思議だった。よくわかんなかった。センディングレバー。もっとやってない部分いっぱいあるかもね。こんばんは。ジンスミスさん、コンシルビーいらっしゃい。お久しぶり。なんかね、今回はちょっと変わったゲームをやってたんだけど、モニタールームエレベーター。変わったゲームをやってたんだけど、あ、こっから、もう一回やれるのかな。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
ちょっと、
Listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop
ま
the
た潰
program
され
if
る
they
の
both
我。
fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone
また
else's
潰されるの我。
Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
また潰される。
Choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
潰された。ガチで終わり？おお。ローディング入った。また最初っからだよ。よくわかんないゲームだけど、今度は言われた通り、言う通りに進んでみたいな。なんかよくわからないゲームだった。よくわかんないゲームだったね。また男の人ナレーションする？ああ、ナレーションするね。ロムでもよく見てますよ。応援してます。ありがとう。嬉しいよ。見てってください、見てってください。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
よし、
Yet
今度
there
こ
was
そ。
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
今度こ
office.
そ上
Hoping
に
he
行っ
might
て、
come
ちゃ
into
ん
a
と。
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ボスオフィス。ここだね。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
知るはずはありませんって言われてるから、知らないってことでいい。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
これは案に押せってこと？でもさっき押したよ。
284. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
あ、そっか、さっきエスケープの方行ったからダメだったのかな。えい。まっすぐ行きます、まっすぐ。次は。次こそは。ほい。ほい。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
おー、新しい道が開かれたり。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
どこ ?427。これだ。人生って不思議だね。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
まあ確かにナレーターにすごく
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
ナレーションの通りに動いてきたから確かにサンディは誰かに支配されてると言えるよね。怖いな。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
On にする？オフにする？オンにする？オフにする？オンにすべき？オフにすべき？オンにすべき？オフにすべき？ Mind controls either awaiting input. システムパワーをオンにする？オフにする？ なんか、オンにしたらだってさ、マインドコントロールされるでしょ？でもオフにしてもさ、ナレーターの言うことに聞いてオフにしたってことじゃん。それってマインドコントロールされてるって言わない？これオンにするべき？オフにするべき？わからん。でも、我がこのシーン来たら、絶対オフにする。どんだけ逆張りでもマインドコントロールシステムをパワーオンにすることはできない。どうなったの？
And a rising chill
どう
of
なったの？
uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth
これで自由を手にしたと言え
Stanley
るの？
stepped through the open door.
スタンリーはこれで本当に自由を手にしたと言えるのかな？
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the
やばい、
immense
ついに
possibility of
我
the
の
new
操作を受け付け
path
なくなっ
before
た。
him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
一番物語の終わりっぽい終わりではあった。けど、これでよかったの？ただ、今まで指示に従ってきた人が野に解き放たれてそれで幸せだって言えるの？彼は自分で選択するってことを知らないままで幸せに生きていけるの？不安が残るエンディングだ。ということで、システム
Someone
オ
was
ンにする
following
方も。
Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
何？新しいナレーションだ。どういうこと？扉越しに捕まえれる。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
よくわかんなかった。オンの方やっていきましょう。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
あ、なんかニューエイジミュージックが始まっちゃった。なんだそれ。早くストーリーを進めようとしたのに。逆にゆっくりになった。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
はい。はい。 なんてこった。めでたしめでたし。めでたしめでたし。どっちでしょう。どっちがめでたいんでしょう。マインドコントロールシステムをオンにして、人に操られるがまま生きていくことがスタンリーにとっては幸せなのかもしれません。さあ、行きましょう。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
さあさあ、どんどん行きましょう。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number
でも実際怖いよね。こんな風に自分が監視されてる人生だとしたら。
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
しかもそれが全員今いないんだよ。どういうこと？何が起きてる？
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
いけ!
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
Never.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Blind to the world?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
On!
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
4のボタン押すだけかよ。
Before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened.
どうしたらいいの？
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free.
開かない。
Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story.
Ah.
Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you. It's quite a bitch. I almost hate to see it go. but I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
もううるさいうるさいうるさい。わからんわからんわからん。 何したらいい
You're
の
in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye,
Take a look at the clock,
goodbye.
Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
Oh my!
Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let
My
it go
God.
peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, hurry ever up.
何もなくなっちまった。また初めから
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
まだあるのこのゲームすごくない？やばくないこのゲーム。なんだろう。
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
はい。
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
めちゃんこワクワクしちゃう。
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
あ？
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
New content.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
お、こっち？
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
ただジャンプするだけなんだけど。なんかただジャンプしてる。このジャンプ、なんか残りジャンプって書いてあるから。あ、もうジャンプできない。は？ジャンプしただけなんだが。ただジャンプできただけなんだ。
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
おう、まだまだあるよね、新コンテンツ。
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content, and oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content.
You've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh. いや、いつもの部屋だけど、ここ。いつもだったらこんな景色のはずなのに。なにこれ。なにこれ。どこ行けばいいっていうの？ああ。
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Nani kore?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
The Memory Zone. Stanley Parable.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
なんかよくわかんないけど、スタンリーパラボルウルトラデラックスじゃなくてスタンリーパラボルの方が良かったって言ってる。こんな感じだったんだ。
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
なんかよくわかんないけど。ああ、これね。作りがいいよね。
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
Iけないもん。よくわかんないんだけど。あ、こっちか。
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Steam のレビューだって。
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
なんか怒ってらっしゃるわ。面白くないって言われて。いいレビューだってあるじゃん。
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can
Pretty
tell me
am
if I'm
I?
preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh,
Pretty.
goodness. This is actually quite
Pretty.
shocking for me.
Goodbye.
I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Skip button.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story,
でもこれ全部聞いたら実績ありそうじゃない。
and therefore, by becoming it is, so
実
on
績あ
and
り
so
そうじゃ
forth,
ない。
until
これ全部。
inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
Nani? What the?
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to...
Huh? Hey! ちょっとピピピピピピピピ充電切れえい
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to...
また喋らなくなった。あれ？よいしょ。
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
怖いんだけど。どうしたらいいのあれ。どうしたらこの世界から出られるの荒廃してきたけど。大丈夫そう え、なにこれどうしたらいいの？もうスキップするしかないんだけど。なんか日が差してる。わ日が差してるわ。倒れてる。なにこれ。え、マジで。なんなの？なんかもはや草生えてきた。草生えて森って感じ。草越えて森。また荒廃した。大敗的で荒廃的な世界。おわーい！何の音？怖いんだけど。何よ、もう。あれ？おう。ちょっと出れるようになった。何これ？どこまでも続くの？何これ？わけがわからないんだけど。スキップボタンを押せばいいのかな？もう押せない。もう押せなくなってる。戻ってきた。また戻ってきたよ。一体いつになったらこのゲームは終わりを迎えるんだろう。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
また
missed
ミ
a
ーティング
memo.
ルーム？もうこのゲーム長すぎ。すごくない？ボリューム。逆に。本当にニューコンテンツがあるっていうの？
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
広いところに出た。広いところに出て、そしてまた終わりを迎えニューコンテンツって。何なの
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
パワポがあるよ。The Stanley Parable 2。
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Two. Export 2. The Stanley Parable 2.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Mars. オフィスデコレーション。このゲームをプレイしている人の名前を言うボタン。The Stanley Parable 安心のバケツ。Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Try it here.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim. Sleeping and waking as Jim. Falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim. Seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim. And as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
はい。よくわからないな。
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
フリー実績、無限の穴。何？フリーアチーブメント。
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
なんかすごい頭が混乱してきたこのゲームやってたらわけがわからない。これは使えないのね。なんかこのゲーム頭疲れる。わけわかってるみんな。
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
これCollect them all.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable.
Oh! 6分の1。
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
なんかよくわかんないな。じゃあもうやったし。No screen shot.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
こっち。
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
全然嬉しくない。全然嬉しくない。あ、なんだこれは。
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right, infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
Yo.
Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
わけがわからないよ。わけわかんないね。本当にわけわかんない。頭使うこのゲーム。早く出口に出たいな。入り口って書いてある。もういいよ。疲れた。わけわからないこのゲームに付き合ってるのに疲れた。最初はなんか実績を集めるゲームだ。
This is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay?
どこ
All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
どこバケット The Stanley Parable Resilience Bucket Bits You hear Pages for further The Jump Circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Okay. どこバケットバケットどこなのバケット。あ、これか。
common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
Oh,
as long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they?
こんなバケツのいいところは酔って吐いた時に使えるぐらいだよ。このバケツ持ってけって。早く出口行きたいんだ。我は早く出口に行きたい。
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
出口出口。出口出口。入り口出口田口。はあ、やっと終わりかな。あ？何これ？
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
なんか新しいタイトル画面になったよ。これ れゲーム始めてみた方がいいのかな。 The Stanley Parable 2を。もうゲーム終わりたいぐらいの気持ちだけど、一応最後までやりたいから、一応始めてみる。
This is the story of a...
スキップした。わー、なんか風船が足されてる。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
あー、バケツもある。
Stanley picked up the bucket.
なんだこれは。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
はい。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
はい。はい。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication
もう
of
言われ
any
た通り
human
に
life.
しよう、素直に。
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion
最
and
後まで見
chaos.
たかったけど、もう寝ないと。おやすみなさい、シェルビー。おやすみなさ
The
い。
bucket would.
ありがとね、長い間。
The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual
バケツ
connection he
の話
shared
は
with
もう
the
いい
bucket
よ。
that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
どんなエンディング？あ
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
はい。
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
はい。
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Big びっくりした。バケツなくなったかと思った。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
バケツに意志とかないと思うけどな。
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Oui.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
What?
What? Wait. What was happening?
止まっち
Why
ゃっ
had
た
the
よ。
door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, and go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
わけわかんない。またやるの？いつまでやればいいんだよ、このゲーム。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
バケツ持ったからダメだったんだ。バケツを通り過ぎないと。ついつい持っちゃったんだもん。なんか出られる。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
こんなこと書いてあったっけ？はい。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
はい。なんかもうキーパッドを押さなくてもいけるようになった。長いな、このゲーム。よし。行くぜ。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the
ついに終わ
large
りを
door
迎
that
える。
read Mind Control Facility.
ボタンが1個しかない。あ、そうだ、ここはまだ1個だった。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
はいはいはいはい。いいですよ、いいですよ。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's
このゲーム作るのにナレーターさんめっちゃ大変だっただろう。めっちゃ喋らなあかんや。
Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
大変これは。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
よいしょ。まあ行きましょうか。
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
先ほどまでと同じ感じです。
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh!
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
よいしょ。あ。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
終わり？ なんで終わりじゃないの？どういうこと？
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
大事ってどうしろって？
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
やばい、バッテリー残量がもうないから、もうゲームできなくなっちゃうんだけど。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door and this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
We can find them. もうよくわかんないんだけど。ちょっと。変なの開いちゃった。ちょっとよくわからんすぎるのでゲーム終了する。ちょっとよくわからんがすぎた。ちょっとよくわからんすぎた。あ、てかもう顔動いてなくないわれの。今、配信を見てくれてる人はいないかもしれませんが、一応配信の締めを取って配信終わりたいと思います。もうすんごい長いことゲームやったから本当に疲れた。ということで、今日も最後まで見てくれてありがとう。お相手は、健康になりたい気ままな吸血鬼こと早乙女シルビアでした。みんな最後までありがとう。シルビー。おチルビー。